Hey everybody, it's Austin. We are out here this evening, in front of our Keystone Hideout 186 SS, and we are going to be winterizing it, or starting the winterizing process. We have a really full freshwater tank, and that is the first step in getting this thing empty, is making sure that that thing is drained, because it is about to freeze tomorrow night, and I want to start getting this process going. So we finally have a break in the weather, so I need to drain the fresh water tank, drain the hot water heater, drain all of the fixtures, all the plumbing, the sinks. There's a sink in the bathroom, sink in the kitchen, and drain the toilet to make sure all the water's out of everything. So we're going to start by getting the fresh water tank drained, and then we'll go inside, turn on the water pump for a second, make sure everything comes out till it runs empty. And then we will go ahead and hook up the new adapter that we got into the fresh water tank to start pumping in some of the RV antifreeze for the winter, which we still like to camp in the winter. So my goal here is to hopefully just get all the water out, but I don't want to risk having any leaks, especially around any plastic fittings or connections, because when we first bought this camper back in April of last year, or April of this year, it must not have been winterized properly, and it had some leaks. So, and I fixed those on a previous video. So we're gonna go ahead and jump under the camper and go ahead and hit up our low point drains and get those flushed out. All right, so here we are on the side of the camper, and right underneath our bed is the hot water heater. And so our taps are all right below that. So we have a drain there, which might be for the hot water heater. And then there is our low point drain for all the hot and cold lines, which you can see those are super susceptible to freezing. So we're gonna definitely wanna get those taken care of. So I might go ahead and try to undo this one first and see how much comes out of there. All right, so now we're gonna get under here, and I think I'm gonna do these caps first on the low point drains and see how much water comes out of there. So I have a pair of channel locks and a pair of pliers, because these might not come off super easily. There we go. Have to be super gentle with that. I'm gonna get this one loose before it gets super wet under here. All right. That's about to make a mess. Man, it's splashing on me. Not much is coming out of the hot, so that's good. Not much is coming out of the low either. Let's see if anything comes out of here. Well, that's definitely working. That might be our fresh water tank drain right there, because that is right under where our bed is, and I'm pretty certain the fresh water tank is under the bed, which is where that window is. I've never actually lifted it up, so I'm not for sure, but I'll have to get in there tonight or tomorrow to get that. That's where I'll have to put in the junction to let in the antifreeze. So this might take a while to release up to 30 gallons of fresh water, but pretty easy valve to manipulate and an easy way to access that tank. So we'll let this go, and now we're gonna open up the hot water heater, crack that open, take out the anode rod, and let that leak or drain as well. All right, so while that's draining, we opened up the cover to the hot water heater, and you can release the pressure to that by pulling out this plunger, which on our previous camper I never did, because I've been told if those don't get used, they then can not work well and won't seal back up. But this is a pretty new camper. It's a 2021, so I'm gonna go ahead and crack that and release the pressure. And then we're gonna use a 1 1/16 inch socket to pull out this anode rod, which will drain the hot water heater. Make sure you haven't used this recently when you're doing this, especially if you're trying to do this process kind of as you drive home from camping, so your water's all draining. But we're gonna go ahead and get this done here in comfort of our own home, and let's see if there's any pressure behind this hot water heater. When I pulled that out, that started draining. Oh, the other line started draining faster. The hot water line is not draining now, but this started once I opened up that pressure valve. So that's good to know. All right, well, let me go get a socket so we can get the anode rod out. All right, so now that we've got this pressure valve cracked open and we've got our 1 1/16 inch socket on here, we're gonna go ahead and crack this anode rod loose, which I'm gonna need 2 hands to do, and then we'll pull that out and let this completely drain. All right, so we got it broke loose. Last year I did this. I didn't release the pressure and got soaked. Nice. Not much is coming out, so we know that might be draining the water heater, which is wonderful. So maybe next year I won't have to pull the anode rod, because I know that now. Very cool. So see, this pulled the rest of the way out of here. So an anode rod is a magnesium rod, and it erodes so that the water inside doesn't build up and cause the inside of the tank to rust if you have a metal tank. So you can go ahead and leave this here. If you want to see a video on how to clean the inside of your tank, I have a video on that, and I'll link that right here in the corner. But all it is you can buy a wand on like Amazon that hooks to your hose, stick it in the tank, kind of wheedle it around in there, and flush out all the debris that comes in that your filter may not catch, and honestly some particulates from the rod as well. So go ahead and check out that video, and it's really helpful on a way to keep your tank going strong and free of debris, so you don't get that in your water or clogging up your faucets. All right, so let's go inside now and open our faucet and see if anything comes out. Nothing comes out there. I can't reach into the bathroom because of the slide, so we're gonna have to put the slide out to get to that one and run the antifreeze through that. So that's all we can do on that one. Let's see if we can turn on our water pump. All right. Water. I don't know which one. Pump. Apparently, we do not have enough battery to do that, but no water's coming out of here, so that is good. I think that might be our low battery signal. We need to get this plugged into the house. I gotta figure out why our battery is draining. It shouldn't be using anything when we're home. And we were plugged into power when we camped last 2 weekends ago. So I gotta figure out what's going on with that. But for right now, we have opened this faucet, so any water that's here can come out. Flip it to hot, flip it to cold, nothing. So that's good. Now we're gonna go back out and just wait for the water to finish draining. And then probably tomorrow after work, I'm gonna get under the bed here and remove this plywood piece. And I think our water tank's under there, which will be nice because that's an easy space to work in. And then we can go ahead and get the new valve set up, new valve system installed on the water lines to allow us to use the water pump to suck antifreeze through the system. But we'll have to wait for tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then.